Your mind is the battlefield where your greatest victories are won or lost. To overcome any challenge, you must first educate your mind because strength without wisdom is weakness disguised. Today, we embark on a journey to sharpen your thoughts, break mental chains, and unleash unstoppable potential within you. Your mind is not just a part of you, it is the source of everything you become. Every success, every failure, every triumph, and every setback begins in the mind. But here's the question. Are you using your mind as a tool of limitation or as the greatest weapon of opportunity? The power to rise above your circumstances, to break through barriers, and to claim victory lies hidden within your thoughts. The key is to unlock that power through education, not just formal education, but the education of your mind, the training of your thoughts, and the discipline of your focus. Too many people go through life reacting to their environment instead of responding with purpose. They allow fear, doubt, and confusion to dictate their actions. But when you educate your mind, you begin to understand the principle that your mind works exactly as you program it. If you fill it with negativity, it will create obstacles. But if you fill it with knowledge, confidence, and vision, it will build bridges where walls once stood. The mind is like a muscle. It grows stronger with use and atrophies with neglect. So the question is, what are you feeding your mind every day? The power to overcome anything starts with a decision to control your thoughts. You must become a student of your own mind, learning to recognize which thoughts serve your purpose and which ones sabotage your progress. This is not easy, because your mind has been conditioned by years of habits, fears, and limiting beliefs. But here's the good news. You can re-educate your mind. You can choose to break free from mental prisons and build a fortress of mental strength that no circumstance can shake. When you take control of your mind, you begin to see opportunities where others see problems. You begin to create solutions where others see obstacles. The mind becomes your greatest asset, your strongest ally. You no longer wait for the right moment, you create the right moment. You stop being a victim of your environment and become the architect of your future. This is the ultimate key to victory, because your mind governs your actions and your actions determine your destiny. But here's a challenge many never face. Educating your mind isn't a one-time event, it's a lifelong commitment. It requires discipline, focus, and a hunger for growth. It means you must surround yourself with ideas, people, and experiences that stretch your thinking. You must reject the comfort of ignorance and embrace the discomfort of learning. Are you willing to pay that price? Because unlocking the power of your mind is just the beginning. The real breakthrough happens when you learn not just to think, but to master your mindset. When you realize that victory is not about what happens to you, but how you think about what happens to you. That's where true power lies. So what does it take to master your mindset? How do you move from simply unlocking your mind's power to commanding it to work for you every single day? That is the next step, the journey from awareness to mastery. And it's a step you cannot afford to miss. What does it mean to master your mindset? Is it simply thinking positively? Is it just about repeating affirmations and hoping things will change? No, mastering your mindset is much deeper than that. It is the conscious decision to take control of your inner world, to govern your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs, so they work for you, not against you. Success is not a matter of luck or chance, it is a result of a mindset built on clarity, focus, and unshakable determination. Too often, people wait for circumstances to be perfect before they act. They believe that when everything lines up, then they will be ready. But mastering your mindset means being ready regardless of your situation. It means developing mental toughness, an iron will that pushes through fear, doubt, and uncertainty. It's about training your mind to stay anchored in purpose, even when the storms of life rage around you. Your mindset is like the steering wheel of your life. If you don't take hold of it firmly, you will be at the mercy of every passing thought, every external influence, and every emotional wave. But when you master your mindset, you steer your life toward the outcomes you desire. You become proactive instead of reactive. You design your life with intention rather than drifting aimlessly through the currents of circumstance. Mastering your mindset begins with awareness. You must become conscious of the patterns of your thinking, those automatic thoughts that often go unnoticed. Are they empowering or are they limiting? Are they moving you closer to your goals or pulling you further away? This awareness creates the space for change. It is the foundation of transformation. But awareness alone is not enough. You must also take action. You must replace limiting beliefs with empowering truths. You must cultivate habits that reinforce your vision rather than sabotage it. Mastery requires discipline, a daily commitment to guard your mind against negativity and distraction. It demands that you surround yourself with influences that elevate your thinking and that you consistently feed your mind with knowledge, inspiration, and courage. Here's a powerful truth. Your mindset influences not only what you achieve, but how you handle setbacks. When failure comes, and it will, a mastered mindset sees it as a lesson, not a defeat. It doesn't give up, it adapts, learns, and pushes forward with even greater resolve. This is what separates those who succeed from those who give up. But mastering your mindset is not about perfection, it's about progress. It's about the willingness to keep going, even when the road is hard and the future uncertain. It's about knowing that your greatest battles are won in the mind first. So ask yourself, are you willing to take control of your mental steering wheel? Are you ready to master your mindset and become unstoppable? Because the next step, the step that transforms mindset into reality, is learning to break through barriers with the strength of educated thinking. And that step is where many get stuck, but not you, not today. Have you ever stopped to realize that your mind is your most valuable possession, more precious than any material wealth, more powerful than any tool or resource you might possess? Yet many people treat their minds carelessly, as if it's a place of random thoughts and fleeting emotions, rather than a powerful asset to be developed and trained. But here's the truth. The quality of your life depends directly on the quality of your thinking. Your mind is like a garden. If you plant seeds of doubt, fear, and limitation, what will you harvest? Struggle, anxiety, and defeat. But if you choose to plant seeds of courage, wisdom, and vision, you will reap strength, clarity, and success. The question is, are you tending to your mental garden intentionally, or are you allowing weeds of negativity and confusion to take over? Training your mind means more than just hoping for good thoughts. It means developing a disciplined approach to what you think, what you read, what you listen to, and what you focus on every day. Because your mind is constantly learning, absorbing, and reacting to whatever you expose it to. It doesn't stop working. Whether you are aware of it or not, it is shaping your reality right now. The power to triumph over any obstacle begins with this. The mind must be educated and trained to focus on solutions rather than problems. Too many people get stuck in the cycle of worrying about what's wrong, instead of training their mind to find what's possible. Training your mind to triumph means you become a problem solver, a visionary, someone who doesn't just react to life, but creates the life they want. But training the mind requires intentionality. It demands that you be selective about your thoughts and that you challenge the negative ones as soon as they arise. It requires you to replace self-doubt with self-belief, confusion with clarity, hesitation with action. It's a daily practice, a commitment to mental excellence. And remember, your mind is also your greatest defense against defeat. When adversity hits, and it will, the trained mind does not crumble. It stands firm, adapts, and finds new pathways to success. That's the difference between those who fall under pressure and those who rise above it. So how do you begin this training? Start by feeding your mind with knowledge. Read, listen, learn, expand your thinking, challenge your beliefs, and embrace growth. Surround yourself with influences that uplift and empower you. Make mental discipline a priority, because your mind is your ultimate asset. Yet there is a crucial step beyond training your mind. Once trained, Your mind must be used to break barriers that seem impossible to cross. How do you break through those walls that keep you confined? How do you use this trained mind to transform obstacles into stepping stones? That is where the true power lies, and it is a journey we are about to explore next. Have you ever faced a barrier so tall, so intimidating, it felt like giving up was the only option? We all have. But the difference between those who overcome and those who surrender is not circumstance. It's the strength of their thinking. When your mind is educated, trained, and disciplined, no barrier is too great, no obstacle too strong. You possess a power inside that refuses to be stopped. Barriers are often illusions created by our own limited thinking. When you encounter a problem, what's your first reaction? Do you see a dead end, or do you see a challenge to be solved? Educated thinking transforms your perspective. It teaches you to look beyond the surface, to ask better questions, and to seek innovative solutions. It is the key that breaks chains, opens locked doors, and creates paths where none seem to exist. The mind that is educated is not just filled with information, it is sharpened with wisdom. Wisdom allows you to separate what is useful from what is distracting. It helps you focus your energy on what will move you forward, not what will hold you back. That is why knowledge alone is not enough. You must know how to apply what you learn, how to think critically, and how to adapt when conditions change. Breaking through barriers requires courage, the courage to face fear head-on, and the courage to keep going when failure seems certain. But courage without strategy is reckless. Educated thinking combines courage with strategy. It teaches you to plan, to prepare, and to persevere with intelligence. This is how mountains become molehills, and impossible becomes possible. You must also understand that barriers are not permanent. They are temporary challenges designed to test your commitment and sharpen your resolve. When you view obstacles this way, you refuse to be defeated. Instead, you use them as opportunities to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. The strength of educated thinking gives you the mindset to see setbacks as setups for comebacks. But let me ask you, what happens when you break through one barrier, only to face another? Life is full of challenges, and each one demands a higher level of thinking and strength. That is why your education of the mind must never stop. You must continue to grow, to evolve, and to deepen your understanding. Because with every breakthrough, the next challenge is bigger, and your mind must be ready. So how do you build this strength of educated thinking? How do you develop the mental muscle to not only face barriers but to conquer them consistently? That's the next critical step on this journey, the transformation from mental strength to mental excellence. And that transformation is what separates those who merely survive from those who thrive. Are you ready to take that next step? How often do we allow limitations, those invisible walls built by fear, doubt, and past failures, to define who we are and what we can become? These limitations trap us in a prison of I can't, I'm not enough, and it's impossible. But the mind holds a transformative power, an incredible ability to break free from those chains and step into a place of total liberation. The journey from limitation to liberation begins when you understand that your mind is not a place for restrictions, it's a battlefield for freedom. The problem is, many people never realize the full potential of their minds because they accept their limitations as facts. They believe their circumstances, their background, or their mistakes have set a permanent ceiling on their potential. But here's the truth. Limitations only have power when you give them power. The moment you decide to challenge those beliefs, to educate your mind, and to shift your thinking, you step into a new reality. You begin to see yourself not as a victim of circumstance, but as a master of your own destiny. Liberation starts with awareness. Awareness that your mind is the source of both your limitations and your breakthroughs. If you can control your thoughts, you can control your life. If you can reprogram your mind to believe in possibilities, to expect success, and to persist through failure, then no limitation can hold you back. Your mind becomes a tool of freedom, rather than a cage of restriction. But transformation is not automatic, it requires intentional effort. You must be willing to confront the voices of doubt inside your head, the negative patterns that have kept you stuck. You must replace them with empowering thoughts and action. This is mental training at its highest level, choosing every day to focus on what you can do rather than what you can't. It's deciding to see obstacles as opportunities and setbacks as setups for a greater comeback. The power of this transformation goes beyond just your personal success. When your mind breaks free, your entire life changes, your relationships improve, your confidence grows, and your ability to lead and influence others expands. You become a living example of what is possible when the mind is educated and freed from limitation. But here's the challenge many face. Liberation is a process, not an event. It takes time, patience, and persistent action. There will be moments when old limitations try to creep back in, disguised as fear or uncertainty. The key is to recognize these moments and to stand firm, knowing that true freedom comes from continued growth and resilience. So how do you sustain this liberation once you've tasted it? How do you keep your mind from slipping back into old patterns of limitation? That's where the next level comes in, the discipline of thought and focus, the unshakable mindset that rises above challenges every single time. And that's the next step we must explore, because liberation without discipline is freedom that won't last. Are you ready to discover how to rise above all obstacles with unwavering focus? But the difference between those who rise above and those who fall beneath is simple: discipline of thought. This is the ability to control your mind, to govern your thinking, and to maintain focus no matter how strong the storm. Discipline is not natural, it is cultivated, trained, and strengthened every day. Imagine your mind as a powerful engine. Without discipline, it runs on random fuel, distractions, doubts, and fears. But with discipline, it runs on purpose, clarity, and determination. Discipline of thought means you refuse to let every negative emotion or passing impulse dictate your actions. It means you master your mental environment, choosing what to believe, what to focus on, and what to ignore. When challenges come, and they will, discipline of thought keeps you steady. It stops you from reacting out of panic or frustration. Instead, it teaches you to respond with calmness and strategy. You learn to pause, assess, and decide your next move. This is what separates leaders from followers, victors from victims. But discipline is more than just resisting temptation or negative thinking. It is about consistent mental training. It's about creating habits that reinforce your purpose. You must build a daily routine of feeding your mind with empowering information, surrounding yourself with positive influences, and practicing mental exercises that sharpen your focus. Without this, your mind drifts, and with drifting comes defeat. It's important to realize that discipline of thought is not about suppressing emotions. It's about channeling them in ways that serve your growth. When fear arises, discipline helps you acknowledge it, but not be ruled by it. When doubt whispers lies, discipline reminds you of your strength. When distractions pull you off course, discipline brings you back to your vision. The great secret is this: discipline of thought creates freedom. It frees you from the tyranny of your circumstances, the chaos of your environment, and the noise of doubt. With discipline, your mind becomes a fortress impenetrable to negativity, focused on victory. It empowers you to rise above any challenge, no matter how big or small. But here's a truth many overlook: discipline is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. The less you use it, the weaker it becomes. So the question is, are you willing to build this muscle every day? Are you ready to invest in your mental discipline and rise above every challenge life throws at you? Because mastering discipline of thought is only the beginning. What comes next is even more powerful: the ability to think beyond your circumstances and live beyond your limits. And that's where the true freedom of your mind is found. Are you ready to break free from what holds you back? Look around you. How many people allow their circumstances to define their lives? They see their situation, their job, their past, their failures, and believe that this is all there is. But here's the truth: your circumstances do not have the final say in your story. The only thing that determines where you go is the way you think about where you are. To live beyond your limits, you must first learn to think beyond your circumstances. Thinking beyond your circumstances means refusing to be a prisoner of your environment. It means recognizing that no matter how tough your current situation looks, it is not permanent. You have the power to change your narrative by changing your mindset. The mind is the gateway to your future. If you keep feeding it stories of limitation and defeat, your life will reflect that. But when you feed it stories of possibility, growth, and success, your life will begin to transform. But how do you do this? How do you move from being stuck in your present to envisioning a future that's greater than your past? The answer lies in your ability to challenge your current thinking and to expand your vision. Instead of focusing on what you lack or what's wrong, focus on what's possible. Ask yourself powerful questions like, what can I learn from this? How can this challenge make me stronger? What new opportunities are waiting for me if I just look beyond this moment? Living beyond your limits also means breaking free from the invisible boundaries that society, culture, or even your own mind has placed around you. These boundaries say things like, you're not capable, or this is too hard, or that's not for people like you. But those boundaries are nothing but stories, and stories can be rewritten. You have the power to rewrite yours by educating your mind, by daring to dream bigger, and by taking consistent action toward those dreams. It's important to understand that thinking beyond your circumstances is not about ignoring reality or pretending everything is perfect. It's about choosing to rise above the noise of negativity, frustration, and limitation. It's about creating a mental space where solutions, creativity, and hope can thrive, even in the darkest moments. When you start thinking beyond your circumstances, you begin to live beyond your limit. Your mindset shifts from survival to growth. Your vision expands and your confidence increases. You stop waiting for life to give you permission to succeed. You take it. You stop reacting to problems. You start creating breakthroughs. But here's the catch. This kind of thinking doesn't come naturally to most people. It requires effort, discipline, and a hunger for growth. You must be willing to let go of old beliefs that no longer serve you and embrace new ideas that challenge you. Are you ready for that challenge? Are you prepared to think beyond what you see now so you can live beyond what you thought possible? Because the next step after expanding your thinking is to build the foundation for lasting freedom, the education of the mind. And this education will set you free in ways you've never imagined. Are you ready to take that next step? What does it truly mean to educate your mind? Is it simply about gathering facts, memorizing information, or collecting degrees? No, education is much deeper than that. It is the deliberate process of training your mind to think critically, to discern wisely, and to act intentionally. It is the foundation upon which lasting freedom is built, freedom from limitation, confusion, and defeat. Education of the mind is not a one-time event. It is a lifelong commitment. It means choosing every day to feed your mind with knowledge that empowers, ideas that challenge, and perspectives that expand. It means surrounding yourself with influences that elevate your thinking and holding yourself accountable to grow continually. This kind of education sharpens your mental faculties, preparing you to face life's complexities with confidence and clarity. But why is this education so crucial for freedom? Because uneducated minds are vulnerable. They are easily swayed by fear, misinformation, and negative influences. They react impulsively and become trapped in cycles of defeat. An educated mind, on the other hand, understands its power. It questions what it hears, seeks truth relentlessly, and makes decisions based on insight rather than impulse. Education of the mind also means learning to control your thoughts, rather than allowing your thoughts to control you. It means being proactive, not reactive. When you train your mind to think strategically, you become a master of your circumstances, instead of a victim to them. This mastery is the key to breaking free from any limitation that tries to hold you back. This education goes beyond academics. It includes emotional intelligence, self-awareness, and the development of mental discipline. It's about understanding yourself deeply, recognizing your strengths and weaknesses, and continuously working to improve. The educated mind embraces challenges as opportunities to learn and grow stronger through adversity. But how do you begin this education? Start by committing to daily learning. Read books that inspire, listen to voices that challenge your thinking, and seek mentors who push you to rise. Practice reflection. Ask yourself tough questions about your beliefs and behaviors, and cultivate discipline. Set goals for your mental growth, and hold yourself accountable to them. Remember, the education of your mind is the most valuable investment you can make. It builds a foundation so strong that no obstacle can shake it, no fear can fracture it, and no failure can destroy it. With this foundation, you gain the power to create the life you desire, to overcome any adversity, and to live in true freedom. But education alone is not enough. There is one more critical step: applying what you learn with consistency and courage. Because knowledge without action is wasted potential. Are you ready to move from education to execution, to turn your mental training into unstoppable momentum? That next step is where true transformation happens. Knowledge without action is like having a car with a full tank, but no driver behind the wheel. It's useless, wasted potential. The greatest minds, the most brilliant ideas, mean nothing if they are not put into motion. If you want to overcome anything, if you want to truly change your life, you must take the step from knowing to doing. This is the difference between dreams and reality. Taking action is the catalyst that turns your education into results. You can study, you can plan, you can strategize, but if you don't act, nothing changes. The mind is powerful, but it is in motion that power is unleashed. Action breaks the cycle of fear and hesitation. It builds momentum. It creates a chain reaction that propels you forward, even when the path is uncertain. But here's the challenge: taking action is often the hardest part. Why? Because action requires courage. It requires stepping into the unknown, risking failure, and sometimes facing criticism. Most people get stuck here. They get paralyzed by fear, doubting if their efforts will succeed. But the truth is, no success has ever been achieved without action. The question is not will I fail, but will I try? Action also teaches you things knowledge alone never can. When you take steps forward, you learn from mistakes, you adjust your course, and you grow stronger. Action is education in motion. It refines your mind, sharpens your skills, and builds character. Without action, your knowledge remains theoretical, something on a page or in your head. With action, your knowledge becomes experience and wisdom. You must also understand that action is not always a giant leap. Sometimes it's small, consistent steps that make the biggest difference. Daily habits, focused effort, and persistence add up over time to create massive breakthrough. The key is to start, no matter how small, because momentum builds from movement, and movement builds from the first decision to act. But taking action is not just about doing more, it's about doing the right things. It's about aligning your actions with your goals and values. It's about focus and discipline. Random activity without direction only leads to exhaustion and frustration. Purposeful action is the bridge that connects your educated mind to your desired future. So are you ready to stop waiting for the perfect moment? Are you ready to turn your knowledge into unstoppable momentum? Because when you do, you step into a new realm of possibility, where obstacles become opportunities, and limitations crumble before your persistence. Yet action alone, without reflection and adjustment, can lead you astray. What comes next is the crucial process of refining your journey through reflection and adaptation. Are you prepared to learn from your experiences and keep evolving? Because true mastery comes from moving forward with wisdom as your guide. You've taken the step from knowledge to action. You've moved forward, faced challenges, and made progress. But how do you ensure that every step you take leads you closer to your goal? How do you avoid repeating the same mistakes and falling into old patterns? The answer lies in the power of reflection and adaptation. These two forces are the keys to continuous growth, the secret to turning experience into excellence. Reflection is not just thinking about what happened, it is a deliberate, honest evaluation of your actions, your decisions, and their outcomes. It means asking yourself hard questions: what worked? What didn't? Why did I succeed or fail? Reflection gives you clarity. It shines a light on areas that need improvement and reveals opportunities you might have missed. Without reflection, you risk wandering aimlessly, repeating mistakes, and losing valuable time. But reflection alone is not enough. It must be followed by adaptation, the willingness and ability to change course based on what you've learned. Adaptation is the practice of flexibility in the face of reality. It means you don't get stuck in pride or stubbornness. You're open to new ideas, ready to adjust your strategies, and committed to growth over comfort. Adaptation transforms setbacks into setups, failures into feedback. Together, reflection and adaptation create a powerful cycle of improvement. You act, you reflect, you adjust, and you act again, better, smarter, stronger. This cycle is what separates those who plateau from those who continue to soar. It ensures that your mind remains sharp, your goals stay relevant, and your journey moves forward with intention. But here's the challenge. Reflection requires humility. It demands that you look at yourself honestly, without excuses or blame. It asks you to embrace discomfort for the sake of progress. Adaptation requires courage. The courage to admit when something isn't working, and the courage to try something new. Many resist this process because it feels uncomfortable. But discomfort is the birthplace of growth. Imagine if every failure became a lesson, every criticism a tool for improvement, and every setback a redirection to something greater. This is the mindset of continuous growth. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. It's about understanding that growth is a journey, not a destination, and that the mind must be continually educated and refined. So what's next after reflection and adaptation? It's the commitment to never stop growing, learning and evolving. The moment you stop adapting, you stop moving forward. Growth is your responsibility. Your freedom depends on it. Your future demands it. Now, as you stand on the edge of this transformation, ask yourself, are you ready to embrace the discomfort of change? Are you prepared to reflect honestly and adapt courageously? Because the power to overcome anything lies not just in what you know or do, but in your ability to grow beyond yesterday. This is your moment. Step into it with confidence, and watch your mind and your life transform like never before.